Plankton.
Morning, Bort.
What are you doing?
97, 198, 190, 200. Timing the eggs.
What?
I'm timing the eggs. I like them running.
Well, why don't you use the egg timer?
No, it won't work, Bort. All the sand's at the bottom. But I've worked out, if I jog exactly 200 steps, I get perfect soft-boiled eggs. You want yours?
No, thank you, Plankton. I'll have mine hard, please. Nice and hard.
Oh, well, that's, 201, 200.
And how did you get on to this brilliant idea?
Well, I used to use a yo-yo, but I found it was more exercise this way.
Yeah.
207, 201, Park it here. This way I'll know.
Listen to this. Dr. Linhoff, a famous watchmaker from Switzerland, is in Australia to sell more Swiss watches. The Linhoff Company has announced that it will pay up to $10 million for a new timekeeping device to compete with the digital clock.
Which digital clock?
Any digital clock, Plankton. Digital clocks in general. Look, for years the Swiss have been making clocks and watches out of springs. But now that everybody's buying these cheap digital watches from Asia, the Swiss are going out of business.
Well, they still make good cheese. Swiss cheese is my favourite.
Oh, Plankton, get your mind off your stomach for one moment. This here is our big chance.
What chance?
Our chance to make $10 million.
How, Bort?
By designing a new type of clock, you twit.
Good morning. Detective Sergeant Strapp.
Good morning. I'm Rick and this is Crystal. We're from Infinity Limited.
Oh, yes, you're the employers of the accused.
Not exactly. Charlie cleans our office building. He's a friend.
Oh, is he? Well, if I were you, I'd go back and check he hasn't cleaned anything out of the office as well.
I don't think that'll be necessary. What exactly has Charlie been charged with?
Oh, the usual. Burglary. Broke into a jeweler shop, didn't we, Charlie? And made off with some diamond rings and necklaces.
I told you I wasn't anywhere near the place. I'm clean. I didn't do over any store.
That's right, Charlie. We believe you. Sergeant, what evidence do you have that Charlie's responsible?
Well, the owner has identified him. Isn't that right, Charlie? You popped into the shop that same morning, now good look around, and then went back after closing time and broke in.
Okay. I admit I was there in the morning. I took a ring in to be enlarged, but I wasn't anywhere near there in the evening. From 6 o'clock onwards, I was at a wedding. You can talk to the other guests.
Oh, yes. You were there, all right. But, what time were you there, See, the shop was broken into early in the evening, at 6 p.m. to be exact. Now, it's my bet that you broke into the shop, lifted the diamonds, and then raced straight over to the wedding. It's no go, mate. You best come clean.
Were you really at the wedding?
Of course I was. Look, got a photo here. Me outside the church, see? It's only a Polaroid.
You were the chauffeur.
Yeah, did it with some friends for a bit of a lark.
But why didn't you show this to the police?
Oh, what's the point? I mean, I can't prove what time it was. Just say I did it after the job.
What are those?
Oh, a couple others didn't turn out too good.
Hey, have a look at that.
Right. Well, if what Strapp says is true, Charlie might be off the hook. Sergeant Strapp, do you mind if we have a look around?
Well, no, I suppose not, since you have had some experience in the field of investigation.
Oh, you've checked up on us.
I mentioned your name to a few people. I must say you've solved some pretty tough cases in your time. I was particularly impressed by the great iguana heist of '81.
Well, thank you.
Mind you, you're wasting your time here. We've investigated very thoroughly.
I'm sure you have, Sergeant. In fact, we were most impressed by the way you knew the exact time the burglary took place.
Yes. Well, of course, that's where experience comes in. You see those clocks? They're all stopped at 6 o'clock. And you'll notice they're all electric. Now, it appears the burglar came over the back fence, turned off the electricity at the mains so the alarms wouldn't go off. And when he did this, all the clocks stopped.
I see. So that's how you know when they entered the shop.
Exactly.
Candelabra. And what about this?
Ah, that. Yes, now that's very interesting. You see, having turned off the electricity, there was no lights. So the culprit took the candlestick from the window and lit one of the candles, so he could see what he was doing as he performed his nefarious tasks.
But wouldn't a professional burglar use a torch?
Normally, yes. But in this case, a torch beam flashing around would be seen through the window, whereas the gentle light of a candle would not attract attention.
Sure the candle wasn't already burnt?
Ah, positive. The owner told me he put the candlestick in the window that afternoon with 3 new candles in it.
I see. There's only one thing that puzzles me, though.
Yes?
Well, why didn't the candle burn right down?
Well, it's obvious. The thief blew out the candle before he left.
So if you knew how long it took for the candle to burn down that far, you'd have some idea of how long the thief was in the shop, right?
Yes, if you wanted to know.
Do you mind if we borrow these candles?
No.
Thank you, Sergeant.
But you're wasting your time if you think it's going to help your friend.
Now, if I can just very carefully remove the catch, I think we'll...
Hey, Bort!
Plankton! Look what you've made me do.
Sorry, Bort, but I was walking the dog.
Yeah, so much for that. Damn fools of things anyway. I mean, all these cogs and wheels and springs. It's no wonder they're always breaking down. No, it's obvious that what I need is a totally new type of mechanism.
Hey, Bort, look at this.
Plankton, I'm not interested in your childish amusement.
No, Bort, look, see how it's moving backwards and forwards. You could count the number of swings, you could measure the time.
Plankton, that is the second most stupid idea you've had all morning.
Why, Bort?
How can you time something by watching a yo-yo swing back and forth? You're going to stand there and count it like you do with your cookie eggs?
Well, perhaps you could connect it to a machine which measured the number of swings or moved the hands a bit.
Machines wear out, Plankton. Just fade away and lose their accuracy. No. What I have to find is a slow, steady, even, monotonous movement. Something that just goes on and on without changing at all.
They're level now.
8 minutes, 7 seconds, say 8 minutes.
The burglar must have been in the shop for at least that long.
Yeah, that's providing that the candles burn at the same speed.
Well, they're the same make, same size, the same type.
Right, so now we just need to know how long it takes to get from the jewellery shop to the church where the wedding was held.
And if that's long enough, Charlie should be cleared.
All right, how long?
Just over 22 minutes.
Right, well, the candle burned for 8 minutes, and it took at least 22 minutes to get here. That's 30 minutes.
Which means that if Charlie entered the shop at 6, he couldn't have got to the wedding before 6:30.
Right, and we know by the photo that he was here before that.
Providing
What?
the time on the town hall clock is right.
It's right by mine.
And mine, but we better check and see if it was right yesterday.
Wow, Bort, how does it work?
Well, it's simple, my boy. You just fill up the speaker with water, then let the water drip into the bath. As an optional extra, you can buy this Vort recycle pump with a patent pending which refills the beaker.
That's brilliant, Bort. Ripples!
Yeah.
Fancy discovering that ripples always take the same time to travel a certain distance. And I thought you were just going to measure the time by the number of drops that drop from the beaker. Oh, this is much more accurate. Oh, you're a genius.
Well, of course I'm a genius. I mean, anybody knows that a wave travels at a constant speed. Now, all I have to do is to make my waves portable.
All right. So, according to your timing of the candle, Charlie was at...
The burglar.
Oh, yes. The burglar was in the shop for at least 8 minutes.
And we also timed the trip to the church, which took 22 minutes. So, if Charlie entered the shop at 6 o'clock, he couldn't possibly have got to the church before 6:30.
Yes. Well, so he got there at 6:30. That seems perfectly logical to me.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
This photograph of Charlie outside the wedding. As you can see, Sergeant, the town hall clock across the road is clearly visible in the background, and you can see that the time on the clock is...
6:15, yes.
So you see, if Charlie was at the church at 6:15, how could he have been in the shop at 6?
No, the town hall clock was wrong.
Apparently not. It's checked every day.
Then the photo is a fake.
It's a Polaroid. They're pretty hard to fake.
Right, so it was simply taken on another day.
The photographer is prepared to swear it was taken yesterday.
Is he? Well, it makes no difference because we now have a witness. Charlie was seen running away from the shop at exactly that time. Dr. Linhoff.
6:15.
6:15. Dr. Linhoff, may I introduce Infinity Limited?
I am most pleased to meet you. I remember very well your work in the case of the contraband cuckoo clocks.
Oh, thank you.
Doctor, would you tell them?
As you know, I am an expert on clocks and watches. And yesterday I went to Bruno's jewelry shop. But I was too late. They were closed. And I was waiting for a taxi when I bumped into this man running away from the shop. He was wearing fancy clothes as if he was going for a function. And he was in such a hurry that he nearly knocked me over. And the time was 6:15.
Dr. Linhoff, are you sure about that time?
Yeah, yes, I am certain. I had just checked my watch. I wondered about the closing time. Then, this morning on the TV news, I see this man looking at me. And I say, this is the man I bump into. It was my duty, of course, to come to your police.
Dr. Linhoff, I hate to ask you this, but is there any chance that your watch could be wrong?
Young lady, this is probably the most accurate watch in the world. It's a quartz crystal chronometer, accurate to 0.5 of a second in 1 year.
What are we doing, Vaught?
I am creating a way of making waves without water.
That's brilliant, Vaught.
Yeah.
Try waves. And all you have to do is stand there and tap it.
That's right, my boy, and it's superbly accurate because the wave always takes exactly the same amount of time to travel from one end to the other.
Oh, that's great, Vaught. How do you start the wave?
Well, I haven't quite got to that part yet, Plankton, but give me time.
I know. I could stand there with my watch and tap it once every second.
Plankton, what is the point of making a clock if you need a watch to make it work?
To sell more clocks and watches. That way everyone would need at least one of each.
You are a complete and utter idiot, Plankton. That's it? That's it? That's how I can time the intervals between each wave motion? I'll roll balls down a ramp.
OK, it's true.
You admit you were at the shop that night?
Yeah, I had to go and pick up the ring.
The ring?
Well, you see, it still wasn't the right size. The best man had taken it to the jeweller's to get it enlarged again and forgot to pick it up. Well, I said, I'll go down and pick it up, so I tear down to the jeweller's. Of course, it's closed, so I turn around to whiz back to the church and run straight into this foreign Sheila.
Charlie, why did you tell us this earlier?
Well, I thought if I admitted being anywhere near the joint at the time, they'd put it on me.
OK, so you returned to the wedding without the ring?
Yeah, I had to use the ring pull from a tinny.
OK, so what time were you at the shop then?
Oh, must have been about 7:15, I suppose.
7:15. Are you sure about that time?
Yeah.
Charlie, you realise it's your word against probably the most accurate wristwatch in the world?
I know, but I'm telling the truth.
What if Charlie was at the shop at 6:15 and the photograph was faked?
Yeah, or Dr. Linhoff made a mistake.
Or she's lying?
Why should she lie?
Well, what do we really know about Dr. Linhoff?
Sergeant Strapp said she was a famous watchmaker from Switzerland.
And what evidence do we have for that? What if she's a fake, a con artist, travelling the world posing as a watchmaker?
That's pretty unlikely, don't you think?
Yeah, well, should we check?
I suppose so.
Good, I'll book a call to Switzerland.
There's not much point to that.
Why?
It's midnight over there. They'll all be asleep.
We've got the old time zone.
Hang on, wasn't there something unusual about Dr. Linhoff's arrival?
You mean this? Dr. Linhoff flew direct from Zurich to South Australia on a special flight to attend the opening of the Adelaide Arts Festival.
Well, you got it.
But why do we need a stuffed kookaburra?
Australian content, my boy. This invention is going to make us the Switzerland of the South.
But what's it for?
Cuckoo, Barra. Think about it, Plankton. Right. Now, these motions are taking 6 seconds each, and that's far too long. So just raise the ramp a smidgen when you're Plankton. There's a good boy. Right. Now, Plankton, do you realise that we're just minutes away from $10 million?
Yeah, that seems to be everything.
Excuse us, Sergeant Strack. Dr. Linhoff, do you mind if we ask you a few more questions?
Yeah, of course.
Look, I think there have been enough questions.
I don't mind, really.
All right, if you think it'll do any good.
Dr. Linhoff, when you arrived in Australia, did you set your watch to Australian time?
Yeah, as soon as I got to the hotel.
And where was that?
In, Adelaide. A lovely city. But what is
Dr.
it?
Linhoff, what time does your watch say now?
10:30 exactly. Your clock must be wrong.
Sergeant, what time does your watch say?
11 o'clock.
And so does mine.
And mine.
That can't be possible. This is the most accurate watch in the world.
She forgot to reset her watch.
No need to. It keeps perfect time.
It certainly does. Wouldn't you say so, Sergeant Strap?
I don't understand.
Doctor, it's really very simple. You see, Adelaide time is half an hour behind Melbourne time.
The cities are in different time zones. Adelaide is on Central Australian time. We work on Eastern Standard Time. So when you saw Charlie outside the shop, it was really 6:45, not 6:15.
Different times in the same country.
Yeah, well, Australia's a pretty big place.
In Switzerland, we have everywhere the same time.
There are 3 time zones here.
Oh, that is absolutely remarkable. I never knew that.
Mind the merchandise, for goodness sake, man. Dr. Linhoff. There. Valerian J. Vortex at your service. My colleague, Mr. Arthur Plankton. Say hello, Arthur.
Hello.
What we have here, Doctor, represents a revolution in timekeeping, a concept from the 21st century. I give you the Valerian J. Vortex wave motion chronometer. Allow me to demonstrate, please. Go, Plankton. The principle is quite simple. The ball is rolled down the ramp, thereby setting off a wave motion in the piano wire,
I
which
can
in
see
turn...
how it works, thank you. A solenoid microswitch is activated...
Precisely! The simplicity of this machine is simply beautiful. And guess what, Doc? This little beauty can be all yours for $10 million.
Oh.
What do you think?
I think
Yeah?
that this is the biggest, most cumbersome, slowest, most inaccurate, and generally most stupidest timekeeping mechanism I have ever seen in my life.
8 million?
It must have an error of up to 5 seconds per minute.
5 million. That's my final offer. 1 million.
Out of the question.
Would you like to buy a watch?
Absolutely not.
Actually, Doctor,